Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you today and just share a little bit of information with you. The amount of change that IUP has been facing over the last weeks and months and year is very, very significant. And I know that that's caused concern. It can lead to some misunderstandings. And people really wonder why decisions are made and why they're being made at particular times and so on. And so we're going to do some series of videos this spring semester to share a lot of information, keep you up to date, and make sure that you know what you need to know within what we know. And we certainly don't know everything yet. This morning, joining me is Dr. Debra Fitzsimons, our Vice President for Administration and Finance. And so we're going to focus today on our finances and the steps we're taking to bring our expense in line with our revenues. We'll talk about a lot of other topics of great interest to all of you as we go through this series, but we wanted to focus on those basics here in our first session today. So welcome, Debra. It's great to have you with us this morning, just to say hi to you and a shout out in your direction.
Thank you. It's good being here.
Great. I want to just give an overview of some key facts here. Just so you know that IUP's enrollment this past fall was 26% smaller than it was just 7 years ago. In 2012, we experienced at IUP our highest ever enrollment. That was 15,379 students in fall of 2012. And in fall of 2020, the number of students here was 10,067. So you can see that very significant decline over that period of time. I know that all of you are working hard to do everything that we can to increase enrollment. And most importantly, I think, to help those students who are here stay in school, be retained, and help them go on and finish their degrees in great ways. And everyone's working hard at that. And in fact, some of the many things that we've put in place are starting to show some great results. And that means you are doing great work to help students recognize the value of coming to IUP and also helping them be successful while they're here and as they go on into their careers after they graduate. But there's one thing we can't control, and that's the demographics. The National Center for Education Statistics predicts that there will be a 13% drop in the number of public high school graduates in Pennsylvania through 2026-27. And the decline of new high school graduates in the northeastern United States is projected at 5.6%. If you put 13% next to 5.6%, you can see that Western Pennsylvania, which is where most of our undergraduate students live and come from, is projected to be hit extra hard. Some have referred to us as being at the sort of ground zero of this decline in new high school graduates. So simply put, as we go into the years ahead of us, we'll have fewer undergraduate students available to recruit from in the area where most of our students have lived. And so our projections are that our overall enrollment, but particularly our undergraduate enrollment, will continue to decline for the next several years. Provost Moreland, about 2 years ago, coined a phrase that we use all the time, and maybe you've heard him say it, and that is, enrollment is life. And that's certainly true. Students are the lifeblood of our university, and they're the reason that we're here. Enrollment is also key to the university's financial stability. And so we're going to get into some details about that in just a second here. I do want to say that it's easy for us to look backward, knowing everything we know now, and criticize decisions that were made 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 20 years ago, and say, we would have done things differently then if we had been there, if we had been making those decisions. But in reality, smart people with all the best information they had were doing the best job they could to make good decisions for the future of IUP. And our job is the same. So looking backward, while it may be fun at the bar, if we're ever at a bar again, is not very helpful in determining our future. Our job is to look forward and lead this institution into a new future to continue to create students who will go out and transform the world. That's our job here. Deborah, maybe you'd like to get into some more details now about the numbers for us.
You bet. As Dr. Driscoll mentioned, there are some things that are out of our control when it comes to enrollment and demographics, and the same is true for the university budget. During the 1983-84 academic year, 63% of the budget came from state appropriations. Today, that same figure is 28% of our budget. So that means that the remainder of our E&G, or educational and general fund budget, 72%, is primarily from tuition and fees paid by our students and other miscellaneous revenue. While enrollment has declined 26% over the last 7 years, our overall education and general fund has declined only 4%. During those same 7 years, the cost to educate our students has increased by 39%. We've taken many measures to reduce our expenses, focusing on those items with the least impact for students. We have reduced our departmental operating budget by 50% this year as a one-time savings. We have eliminated purchases of non-essential items. Vacant positions have not been filled unless they are judged to be absolutely essential. We have done reorganizations in administration and finance division and other areas. System-wide and early retirement incentive program was offered last year, of which our employees were able to take part in. And we have limited our capital projects to the bare minimum. Our people, IUP's talented faculty and staff, are the heart and soul of IUP. And predictably so, our personnel costs at IUP are the largest expenditure. They make up 74% of our budget. Since July 1st of 2019, through restructuring and attrition, we have made some progress to balance the budget and to become financially sustainable. We've reduced 117 FTE for non-faculty positions, and those reductions resulted in a savings for salary and benefits of over $11 million. That makes up approximately 86 FTE in ASME, SCUPA, and other bargaining unit positions, as well as 31.33 FTE for non-represented managers. At the same time, through attrition, there has been a reduction in faculty FTE as well. And that amounts to about 150 positions, accounting for about 16 to 17% of our workforce, the faculty workforce. Overall, during the time that enrollment declined by 26%, our total employee headcount did not follow the same trend. It only declined about 6.3%, from 1,553 headcount to 1,436 headcount. In the face of further declining enrollment in our projections and current revenues and expenses, we realized that we can no longer afford to maintain our current employee headcount. We must bring our revenue and expenses in line with each other. IUP was still facing a shortfall this year of $33.9 million as we began the fall 2020 semester, and we must address this now. In October and December of last year, following faculty union collective bargaining guidelines, we delivered 82 letters of possible retrenchment by June 4th of 2021 to our faculty, with the expectation that we will reduce a total of 128 FTE positions. And those were to be reduced by the beginning of 2021-22 academic year. We also will reduce 117 FTE non-faculty positions by the end of next year. Details of this work is not yet finalized and it is in the process of being formulated. These workforce reduction targets have projected to reduce our budget deficit for this year to $16 million. So we still are projecting a deficit even though we are doing all this hard work. For the short term, we will create a balanced budget by taking funds from our reserves for this year. And we have done this in the past to meet budget shortfalls, and we can do this again, but it's not a sustainable solution. We will need to come up with a more permanent solution. Currently, our reserves total $66 million. If we continue to use our reserves to resolve our budget shortfalls each year at approximately $16 million a year, we will run out of money in 4 years. Drawing from a reserve is not the ongoing answer. The bottom line is we must develop a budget that balances our revenues and our expenditures. Dr. Driscoll.
Thank you, Deborah, for running through the details of those numbers, which are very challenging. I would mention, however, that we are taking significant steps. We are going to get through this. We just have to be honest about what the situation is and the seriousness of those finances as we go forward. When you add on top of that, the COVID-19 pandemic, which I want to talk about for just a moment, things become even more serious. And certainly all of us have faced some hardship because of the pandemic, and many of us have experienced the loss of loved ones, with millions in our country and millions and millions and millions around the world who have been challenged by this, been hurt by the pandemic. Within that, though, I'm so proud of all that you have done and the decisions and work that you have taken and moved forward to help our students and our families get through this pandemic. I'll just highlight a couple of numbers for you. IUP returned more than $10 million to our students in April 2020, and that came from housing, dining, and other fee refunds as we transitioned in really incredibly rapid speed to distance learning. And I do want to thank the Foundation for IUP and Aramark as partners in returning those funds. IUP also provided $3 million in assistance to all of our students. And thanks to the generosity of you, of our students, of our community, of our alumni and our friends, more than $435,000 was raised for the Student Assistance Fund, which has helped more than 440 students, and for the food pantry and the help center also assisted in their funding. Deborah, you may have some other news about where we are with pandemic funding. If you want to update folks on that, that would be great.
Thank you. Well, we did receive some good news that we'd like to share. Just last month, we heard that IUP will get approximately $15 million in one-time federal funds to help the university and other students work through the pandemic. We do not know yet the details of how this funding can be spent, and our auditors are going to be providing us with guidelines for that. Unfortunately, we don't believe that we can use it for past unfunded coronavirus expenses or for general fund expenses to help us with our budget shortfall, but it will help us to continue to keep the campus clean and safe and healthy for us to continue to respond to the coronavirus and further assist with the technology needs, the need technology for the classroom, for distance learning and hybrid learning, for which we're very, very thankful. Part of this funding will go directly to students for COVID-19 relief in the form of direct emergency relief to our students to assist them financially during this time. But we'll be sharing some more information on this as soon as we get confirmation of our spending guidelines.
Thank you, Deborah. We'll look forward to that additional information after everyone's figured out all the rules that are imposed on the use of those funds. Certainly benefit to be able to provide those to our students and to keep everyone safe. The pandemic has created additional financial challenges for IUP and for many, many businesses and other concerns. It's made recruitment and enrollment more difficult, more challenging for our students to stay engaged and to be successful. But it's not the root cause of our budget issues. We talked at the beginning about the decline in enrollment and a decline in expenses that didn't match that decline in enrollment. And that's the basic cause for our challenges. The pandemic accelerated the need for action. We need to act now. We don't have as much time as we once did to make those adjustments. But without the pandemic, we would still have to change the way we do business and change it significantly. The workforce reductions that we announced this fall and are continuing to announce are very, very painful for you. They can cause anger, anxiety, and a deep sadness. And I know that. And I know that it's very, very challenging. And I feel those things as well. And I'm so sorry that we have to be doing this, that you're in that position where you are confronted with significant changes in your lives and in how we work together in our community. I really wish that we didn't have to do these things, but I don't see any other way for us to continue with IUP as a strong university for the future. It's very challenging, I know, and I feel with you, and I'm sorry we have to do this, but we must. Good news in the middle of this challenging stuff, in spite of all this distress, the challenges that we face, the changes, faculty and staff all over the place are taking those challenges and turning them into opportunities for new thinking. They're working together on next steps, coming up with new perspectives and ideas on how to address enrollment challenges and long-term budget stability, how to do things differently. And they're talking about how to move to IUP Next Gen in the best ways. IUP Next Gen is a plan with some specifics, of course, that you've seen, and we'll talk about in another video later in the semester. But it's also a process of coming together to think about how we do things differently. Change is incredibly challenging, very difficult, and we're doing it so quickly. But there is no question that we must think about and implement new ways of serving our students and doing all of our work. It's not about doing the same with less. That would be silly. We can't do that. It is about doing things differently, and that's what we need to be looking for here. IUP is a place that inspires devotion and passion. People love this place. You love this great institution, and it deserves our best thinking, new thinking, on how it can continue to thrive into the future, serving generations of students to come. And I truly believe that by working together, we will find this new path. We will build the next generation of Indiana University of Pennsylvania. Thanks for being part of that work. Thanks for hanging in there in these difficult times. Dr. Fitzsimons and her team are continuing to gather data and information to create IUP's next comprehensive planning process report, the CPP document that will be submitted to the state system of higher ed later this month. We will know more about our financial situation after the spring enrollment freeze, which is on February 8th, and we'll pull all that data together. We'll continue to be communicating with you about details, and we will have on February 25th a town hall to talk about the CPP document and other important topics. So again, thank you for your continued commitment to IUP and to our students. Debra, thank you for being with us to provide your information as well. Remember, everyone, stay well, take care of each other, wash your hands, and we'll see you real soon. Let's go IUP.